Okay, now it's time for Rewind, brought to you by our friends over at AMC Theatres. We talk about the movies that came out 10 years ago, 20 years ago. There were quite a few of them. Ashley, what came out 10 years ago?
10 years ago, it was Inside Man and Larry the Cable Guy, Health Inspector.
Ooh, tough call.
On what about 20 years ago?
20 years ago, Flirting with Disaster and Diabolique.
Okay, so for me, the one that stands out, honestly, is Inside Man, a Spike Lee film. I actually think that this is a very underrated film. I think that it's a bit predictable when you watch it. That you kind of know what's going to happen, but I think that it's set up well. I think it's a movie that Spike Lee doesn't get enough credit for, because it is, even though it's a little predictable, it's a really well-done movie. I think Clive Owen was really good in the movie as well. And it's the one that I can't believe it's 10 years old, because I remember reading the script for that movie and then coming back to see it, and I thought it transferred over very well from script to film. Larry the Cable Guy, Health Inspector, I don't know what that is. 20 years ago, Flirting with Disaster. That was one. Flirting with Disaster. Everyone, that gives Ben Stiller a lot of credit for that film, because you saw a little bit more of his dramatic chops in that movie, and then Sharon Stone and Chazz Palminteri trying to get it going, and it doesn't get going. Schnepp, what stands out?
I love Flirting with Disaster.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, it was David Russell's great film for him. Had a lot of crazy scenes. I think that was the one with like, "Are you gonna do? Have you done this acid?" Remember they show up, Acid Town or whatever, the weird family with Alan Alda and Lily Tomlin. It's a fantastic film. That stands out to me. The 20 years ago, Diabolique. I still like the original version way better, which is a 50s kind of. I think it was a French film. Better film. Diabolique, same name. And what was the ones from 10 years ago?
10 years ago
Larry the
was
Cable Guy,
Inside
Health
Out.
Inspector.
Yeah, man,
That's the one you remember.
obviously it's Cable Guy, Ben Stiller.
Right.
Oh wait, that's a different Cable Guy.
Yeah,
right.
it's a different Cable Guy.
No, it was Inside Out.
Inside Man.
Inside Man. Right. There we go.
Marcus Aurelius Ellis?
Yeah, I mean, I remember Larry the Cable Guy, Health Inspector, when it came out, because it's like, oh, they're still making these kind of movies where it's like, oh, yeah, we'll take somebody, put them in a premise, see who buys it at Walmart in 6 months. So I remember Inside Man was pretty good. Flirting with Disaster, it's funny when you look back on an actor or actress's career and you kind of see the way like they matriculate before they became huge. So with Ben Stiller, the Ben Stiller Show is a very underrated sketch comedy program. And he had things like Reality Bites that were more in the early 90s. And then Flirting with Disaster, you're right, it's like it's a rom-com for sure, but there's also some dramatic stuff in there. And that was the year before There's Something About Mary, and that catapulted him to like being like one of the A-listers. So this was him like waiting in the wings to become the star that we know Ben Stiller is today.